Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you so much for joining me today for another Nimble training webinar. Today we'll be talking about how to use Nimble for influencer marketing. My name is Michaela Underdal and I'm Nimble's community manager. Today's session will be recorded, so everybody attending and who has registered will receive a recording later today. Please, if you have any questions or feedback during today's session, feel free to let us know because we'll also have a Q&A at the end of today's webinar. And before we get started, I saw that there was a lot of people that were not even in Nimble trial and they were just considering using the product. So I want to spend a few more minutes on talking about what Nimble is. So Nimble is an easy to use customer relationship management tool that works in Office 365, G Suite, and anywhere else you work. What it means is that you are able to easily connect your Office 365 or G Suite emails, calendars, import contacts, not only from Outlook or Gmail, but from anywhere else. So let's say you are using, you have your contacts in various different spreadsheets in your company. You can easily save them as CSV files and import them into Nimble. We also have an integration with a company that specializes in bidirectional data synchronization called PySync. And using them, you will be able to bring all your contacts into Nimble basically for free, because the deal we have with them is that when you sign up for a trial, and this is an inbox integration, so when you go on into Nimble, into networks and imports, you will be able to see that there's a list of all the integrations that we have. There's over 160 different SaaS applications. So just to list some: MailChimp, Xero, QuickBooks, Office 365 as well. So you can, on the free trial, you can bring all your contacts in for free. And on top of that, if you sync only less than 2,000 contacts per month, the integration would remain free and you would be able to keep the two databases in sync. So the information that you would want to be syncing from MailChimp to Nimble would be updated in both platforms at the same time. If you use more, if you would need more than 2,000 per user per month, then there would be a charge associated with that, and we could definitely send you more information about that. Then once you connect your emails, your calendars, bring in your contacts, you'll see that Nimble automatically combines all this into one easy to access contact record. So when you locate the contact record, you will see all the emails you've exchanged with the person, all the actions that have been done, and most importantly, what the next steps are. So Nimble allows you to gather notes, easily organize contacts using tags or custom fields, so you and everybody on your team can easily locate the most important people in your business, access the information about what has been done with them, what they purchased and when, and what are the next steps, when is the next appointment, and so on. We also have mobile applications, so no matter if you're using Android or iPhone, you can easily access your data on the go. And we also have browser and inbox plugins. So we have the plugin for all the main browsers. So you can plug it in and then you will be able to use Nimble everywhere you're working. On LinkedIn, Facebook, company pages, inside of third-party applications, again, like Mailbox, MailChimp, or QuickBooks or anything. And then with the plugin into your Outlook or Gmail, you will be able to easily access existing records and create new ones. So I'll also demonstrate that a little later. And let's talk about the influencer marketing. So I mentioned at the beginning of today's session that influencer marketing is just another way of basically driving awareness and more customers to your brand. It's another marketing strategy you can use in your marketing. And for us at Nimble, it has been very effective. We haven't traditionally been spending a lot of money on marketing and advertising, and that's because we believe that people trust the people they already trust. So you as a business owner, as a sales or marketing professional, you are always trying to figure out how to be better at something, how to become better at selling, at marketing, social media. And you usually do that by consuming some kind of content. So then we naturally focus on the people that develop the content. So we focus on the influencers of our customers. So we first decided what the areas of the promise of our product are. So in our case, those are sales, marketing, technology, social media, and so on. And then after we had the list, we also looked at all the different subgroups of the types of content these people may be developing. So a lot of these people are authors, they're book authors, they're publishing books. A lot of these people, they have long and successful careers behind them, and now maybe they're consulting, or maybe they're already retired and they're just publishing about what they've learned throughout their career. So the book authors, and then many of these people, they also are asked to speak. So we also focus on speakers because we want the major speakers at least be aware of the existence of our product, because they are in touch with many people on daily, monthly basis, and many people trust them and ask them for recommendations. So we focus on professional speakers, consultants, also bloggers, because a lot of thought leaders in our industry have their own blogs. So especially those in sales, marketing, and social media, they usually want to help their community to become better by suggesting tools. So naturally, we would also want them to include us as one of the tools. So we focus on developing relationships with bloggers as well, and also podcasters. Podcasts are an amazing education tool. You can, as you know, you can listen to them while you're running errands, while you're driving to work, or when you're just having a downtime, but you want to use it to still educate yourself. So they're an amazing way to reach your customers at like a really great time when they're really focused on just consuming the content. We also focus on developing relationships and working with industry analysts and, of course, press. So the difference between bloggers and press is that bloggers might be people that maybe are not getting paid for blogging. They have their personal blog, and eventually they become maybe big and they get paid by different ways, like people want to sponsor their blog post, and so on. And press, by press, the way we define it is those are professional journalists that write for big publications. And how do you identify these influencers? So there's a lot of ways how you can do that. There are some tools on the market that I'll show you in a little bit, like Buzzsumo or Littlebird. There's also a great list of tools that you can use for free. So especially if you're just getting started, these will be amazing resources for you, how you can utilize them to come up with influencers for free. So one of them is Zest. It's a Chrome plugin. I'll show you in a little bit. If you're familiar with Twitter, if you're a Twitter user, you might be aware of Twitter lists. Those are also an amazing resource. Influencer lists. So influencer marketing has been a hot word for a really long time, several years now. So there's a lot of companies that have already created lists. So you can find influencers that would match your brand simply by Googling it. So depending on the industry you're in, and like I mentioned, before you get started, it's always a good idea to figure out the exact areas in which you would be focusing on the influencer. So for us, it would be, like I said, sales, social selling, marketing, social media, technology. For you, it might be real estate or healthcare. If you type in healthcare influencers, 2019 in Google, I'm pretty sure there will be at least some list that somebody created. So that can be a really good resource. And not all of them might be relevant. Maybe some of them will be too big and you are a brand that is just getting started, or you don't even plan to be spending a lot of money with them. And there's always an option to at least, well, not always an option, but what I'm trying to say is that a lot of these influencers, they are not only looking for paid opportunities, and we've been utilizing influencer marketing at Nimble for many years. I've personally been involved in that for 6 years for Nimble, and most of the influencers we work for, there's always something you can you can figure out how you can help them. So it really is all about the relationship building, finding out a lot about them, figuring out if there's a fit, and then spending some time developing the relationship, then getting on the phone call with them, asking them. Actually, the great great way to get them talking is just asking them questions that you've previously researched, and then they usually tell you everything you need to know. They usually tell you if they're launching a book, if they're just publishing a course, if they need help with anything, if they're trying to reach an executive in a certain company that you might actually have a contact in and help them to get an introduction. So there's usually something you can help them with, and then the collaborations might happen like this, where you can be saving actual money. Also, there's a lot of online conferences that are taking place that create websites on which they publish lists of speakers that are influencers. So that's another amazing resource. And then another tip I have for you is always looking at the influencers of the influencers. So once you've already identified some influencers that match your brand, always take a look at their social media profiles and look who they're hanging out with when they go to conferences or who they're talking to. So people tend to hang out with people like them. So this is another way how you could discover more influencers like those that you already have on your list. And now let me show you some of the tools. So I mentioned a tool called Buzzsumo. So this is an amazing tool that could help you to not only discover influencers, but also great content that you could then use to publish on your social media. So as you can see, it's very straightforward. You can just type in the keyword that you're interested in. They also have a bunch of more filters. So depending on what specifically you are looking for, you can customize it. And then they give you the insights on the Facebook engagement of the post, how many times it's been shared on Twitter, on Pinterest, Reddit, and information like this. So again, this will be this will really depend on the type of business. If you are in B2B, B2C, if you're in visual business, then maybe you would be really looking for the Pinterest shares or Instagram shares. If you're more in B2B sphere like we are, we know that the platforms that we've had most success with are platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter. So that also these are really important factors to look at. So like I said at the beginning, this is a paid tool. So again, it's always a good idea to figure out what your budget is. And if you're just getting started, I would really recommend just starting with some of the free products. There's also one tool called Littlebird that will help you to create communities based off keywords. So I'm already showing you an existing one. That's because it actually takes Littlebird a lot of time to create it because they're using a lot of data. So I didn't want to waste time here. So you can basically tell Littlebird what the keyword is that you want to research. It can even be a hashtag. Like for this this project that we worked on, we were trying to see who the influencers around content marketing world are. So it's a conference that that happens on a yearly basis, and even though we can't attend in person, we always try to join the conversation, at least on social media. So in order to be able to join the conversation, we always follow the hashtag and see what people are talking about. And we also want to know who the influencers are. So who are the speakers that are speaking at a conference? Who are the influencers that are attending? And then we can put them in a Twitter list or create a list in Nimble and make sure that we are keeping an eye on what they're tweeting. So that is Lilibird, and I want to show you, I'm not sure if everybody is familiar with our browser extensions. I mentioned it during the intro about Nimble. So as you can see, I'm using Google Chrome. And once you plug in the extension, and my colleague Megan will share a link with you, it's nimble.com/widget, and that's a page where you'll be able to download the plugins into your browsers and also your inbox. And the way it works is that you can basically just click on it, hover over the person or their Twitter handle anywhere you might be. So you can see it's also working in a third-party app like Lilibird. We already have Anne in our database because she's one of the biggest influencers in content marketing. So as you can see, I can easily preview her existing contact record in Nimble. I can see her existing tags. I could follow her on Twitter if I'm not following her. I could preview her bio. I see how many followers she has. I have a little smart summary here. I even know what school she went to. And this is all, most of this information, Nimble is actually able to gather for you. So using this extension, you would be saving a lot of time on data entry because as you know, traditionally you would probably create a spreadsheet behind the individual columns, and then you would start doing the research and you would start typing everything in. But luckily there's technology that can scrape the information for you and put it in your existing database. So you can save a lot of time on the research doing that. So if Anne is somebody that you would like to add, let's pretend that we don't have her yet, you could easily add her, apply more tags. So she was also speaking at Content Marketing World 2019. I could even schedule the next step. So let's say I identified her as somebody I definitely want to do something with. I could create a task for myself. Maybe I need to do more research. I could even put the description here, figure what exactly it is I want to do or what I want somebody else on my team to do. So you can easily delegate tasks using the extension to other people on your team. You can set specific due date and save it. You could also create a call. Maybe if you have a conversation with the influencer already, maybe you're talking on LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, you want to make sure that you log this information into your CRM. You can, again, do it straight from here. You can also add a note. It can be anything, and so on. So Get Lilibird basically helps you to map the existing influencers that are already talking about the keyword or the hashtag that you're researching, and they'll create a list of the top insiders. So you can go through them, preview their little bios here. You can sort by people or just organizations. You can also focus on the insiders, the individuals, or look at the content they are sharing. So again, this is a paid tool. I believe they have a free trial, so you could check it out, see if this might be something that could help you out in discovering influencers. The first free tool that I mentioned was Zest. So Zest is a Chrome plugin. And once you install it, it will basically replace your main, if you're using Google as your main page, it would replace it, and you would be able to customize it. So depending on the keywords and the hashtags that are important for you, you could it would get customized every day. So for me, some of the keywords that I want to track are B2B or blogging. I could also do automation, and then Zest would be customizing this page for me, and it would match just the keywords that I selected. So I could go through it and see if there's anything really interesting, if it's relevant to any of the projects I'm working on. And because the team behind Zest is really trying to curate the most popular and really the most well created content. Most of the people that get published there are also already influencers. So this can also help you find content that you can share with your community on social or your brand social media and help them to become better about what they're about the areas of their business. And you can also find new influencers. So you can easily pull up the Nimble extension here. Well, after you close all the pop-ups on the page. And so in this article specifically, they are quoting David Meerman Scott. He's one of the biggest influencers and keynote speakers in marketing. So as you can see, I can just hover over him. Nimble's already suggested David's Facebook. I know that it's him because I know what he looks like. This is definitely him on Twitter. So I can just say yes, 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 and Nimble curates this rich profile for me. And again, I could fill any of the information about him that I further find. So I could fill out the company information, I could edit his email. If maybe I'm talking to him already, or I find it on his website or his social media, or after we connect in LinkedIn, I could manually put it in there. Same with phone number, Skype ID, or anything else. In addition to that, you can also create custom fields in Nimble. So then you would be able to fill the information in the custom fields that you have previously created. So at Nimble, I manage our influencer program. I also manage our relationships with press. So I created all these different custom fields because I want to know certain things about these people. I want to know if he or she has a blog, or if they have an RSS feed. So basically a way to subscribe to somebody's blog. And if you put it in an RSS reader, you will be able to curate blog articles from these people in bulk. And the way we have been successful in starting to develop the relationships with people has been by doing a lot of research about them. So not only figuring out exactly what it is they do, if there's a fit for our brand and for them possibly, but also really trying to investigate what is it they're talking about, writing about, publishing about. So we always subscribe to their blog. We always follow them on social media, listen to their podcast, and really try to understand exactly what it is they do. And in order to make it easy for us, especially as we scale our influencer marketing efforts, we want to make sure that all the information is recorded somewhere where everybody on our team can easily find it. So I could put a link to the RSS feed in here. If the person is a Nimble user, I could also edit here. Could also select the account type. The way we have been doing influencer marketing, if we identify an influencer who's a great fit and we would want to work with them, we also offer them our product for free and free training. So I can also note that on the contact record. Sometimes I want to know when the account expires because I want to make sure that myself or somebody else on our team reaches out to them when the trial is about to expire, and that will help us to start the conversation about if they're still using the product, if they need any help, if they have any feedback for us. As you can see, I also created fields for campaigns. So some of the campaigns we work on are product launches. We like to include our influencers in product launches. So especially those influencers that are already using our product, we love to get quotes for them that we can use in our blog posts or press releases. We also host monthly influencer webinars. So that can be one outreach campaign. We also like to work with influencers on possibly featuring anybody from our C-suite on their podcast. So that could be one campaign. Many influencers also host their own Twitter chats. So that can be another one. We have worked with many influencers on either contributing to their blog, an article, or contributing a quote, or sometimes they're writing an article and Nimble is a good fit. So we work with them on them include us in there. And as you know, Facebook and LinkedIn Live, they're really big in marketing these days. So these are another initiatives that we're focusing on in regards to trying to spread the word and awareness about our brand with working with influencers. In regards to press, I definitely want to know what the journalist is writing about. What are they focusing on? I want to know what publication they're writing for, if they have written about Nimble. If so, I want to be able to put the link in here. So then again, myself or anybody else on the team can easily pull up the list and always be able to tell if they mention us, what is it they said, what publication, and when it was, because then we can use these fields to segment on them and not only report on the success of our influencer activities, but also use this information in future campaigns. So for instance, if we have 10 journalists that already covered us in their articles about a CRM, maybe we are launching an update to the feature that they wrote about, we definitely want to let them know. So using the segmentation in Nimble, we can easily pull up the list of these people and then email them or just use the list to reach out to them in a personalized way. So that was Zest. I want to also show you Twitter list. If you are a Twitter user, you might be familiar with them. If you are not, and especially if you are in B2B, if you're starting to get into influencer marketing, if you want to start developing relationships with journalists, I definitely recommend checking out Twitter, because I know it has the rep. It is messy, noisy. There's a lot of politics being discussed, but Twitter lists are an amazing way to stay out of anything you don't want to be involved in and really focus on, what is it that you want to focus on. So, for instance, I use Twitter heavily for influencer marketing research and developing relationships with our partners and other members of our community. So, when we're going to a certain conference, what we do is that we try to see if the conference, the company that's putting on the conference is on social media. So as an example, I'm using Social Media Examiner. They have a yearly conference called Social Media and Marketing World. So there's one happening in San Diego in 2020. And they always have great speakers. And I want to see if they have already published a list of the speakers that will be speaking at their 2020 event. And sure enough, they did. So this is a super easy way for me to create the list. As you can see, the Twitter list is public. So you can see all the people that have been added. And again, you can use this to find valuable content you can reshare on social media, or you can focus on the people that have been added here. So under the name of the Twitter list, you can see just the members, and you can also preview the subscribers. Those would be the people that subscribe to the list. So you can subscribe to the list, but if you don't want to do it, if you don't like being seen as doing research, which can happen, I don't blame you. You can just click on the list of the people, transport them into your spreadsheet, or even better, use the Nimble extension to add these people in. So let's hover over Rachel's name. And so this is a live profile, meaning I don't have Rachel in my Nimble database yet. If I want to add her, I can just click Add to Nimble. I could tag her, put her on the list in my CRM, and there she is. So with 2 clicks and a little bit of typing to tag her, I was able to create this rich record. And from anywhere, I can always access this contact record. I see what she looks like. I could also change her name, because for some reason, it didn't come in properly. So here it is. So you can update it, you know where she's based, you see what she's all about. I could also qualify her. So in Nimble, you can completely customize all these values. So depending, what works for the type of your business, you can set it up in settings in Nimble. So I could qualify her here. Just totally making this up. I could add more tags. Again, I could follow her. And I can also see her website. So we were able to grab that from her Twitter bio. I also see her experience here, what she's influential in. So this also can really help me when I'm doing my research to make sure that the topics she's influential in really match those areas that we're focused on. So those are Twitter lists. And you can do this with any publicly available Twitter list. Another way how you can bring influencers in easily is this import list feature. So once you go on nimble.com/widget, download the extension for the browser you're using. This will automatically plug into your Twitter. So when you locate a Twitter list, this button should be visible. When you click on it, with 2 clicks, you would be able to take the entire list and put it in your Nimble. I always use this just when the group of people is a tight group of people and I know that everybody, or almost everybody, is somebody I want to be working with. So this is much easier than putting them in one by one. But one thing I want to mention is that one of your biggest goals when using any kind of CRM should be focused on keeping your database clean, keeping the data clean. Because if it becomes messy, it's very likely that you'll just abandon it and it will not be helpful to you. And the entire purpose of using a CRM should be for you to have an organized place where you can go and easily access data that you can trust. So in this case, there's 105 members in this group. I don't think I need everybody. So in this specific example, I would probably just go through them one by one and pick those that I really want to work with. But let's say it's a smaller curated group that somebody put together. It's a group of 20 and they're all amazing. You can definitely use this import list to bring it into Nimble and save even more time. I also mentioned that as a free resource to identify influencers, you can use conference websites. So this is an online summit that Agorapulse, which is a social media monitoring tool that I highly recommend checking you out if you're if you're shopping for tool that will help you schedule content on various different social media platforms, and also tool that will help you to listen. So not only respond to people that you get notifications from, like people that directly are talking to you by tagging you, but also look for keywords. So people that are maybe researching product or services that you are in business for. So tools like Agorapulse or Hootsuite can really help you be proactive about social listening and jump into conversations that your prospective customers might be having. So again, I can go through the list of the people. There, you might be seeing some familiar faces. We already saw Neil speaking in social media marketing world. So if you already have the person in Nimble, Nimble should recognize that. Sometimes you can just hover over their name. Sometimes you will be able to highlight it like this. So yes, I already have him in. For some reason, it's not pulling up the image. Let's see if we can fix that. Yep, fixed just like that. If I had email for Neil, I could also email him from here. But once I've connected Twitter to my Nimble, I could send him a Twitter mention here or even a direct message. Or I could create a note. So myself or anybody else on my team know exactly what is it that I just researched about him. And same way it works on in-person conferences websites. So the online conference that Agorapulse created, that was just something that speakers submitted their their keynotes into a system, and then the conference registrants can watch it on their own time. But this is also this is a conference that is being put up by Social Fresh, and that's an actual conference, I think, that happened in Orlando earlier in November. So yeah, you can just go through the people here, find a little more information about them. And when you're doing this research, as you can see, I can say yes to all the information that Nimble suggested. Yes, that there was Kate on LinkedIn. Yes, there was Kate on Twitter. I still don't have to put this in my CRM. So this really helps you to do the research without having to have a million tabs open, and decide if it's somebody that you want to put on your list. So maybe Kate doesn't look like the best fit. So I could just move on and go and see if Jessica might be. Okay, let me just close this up and let's go into Nimble for now. I promised that I would start with a little bit of basics as well. So for those of you that are just getting started with Nimble, or maybe just thinking about signing up for trial, I want to direct you to network sending force when you start, and make sure that you connect your emails. As you can see, I'm using a combination of Office 365 and G Suite. So I was able to connect all my 4 different email addresses. I connected my both Outlook and Google calendars, and I'm also very active on Twitter, so I connected my Twitter. If you want to connect your contacts, you would go into contacts. You can either bring them in a CSV file. So when you save your existing spreadsheets, you can easily import them into Nimble, and we will help you to map the fields. You can also do that with LinkedIn CSV file. So you can go onto LinkedIn and download a list of your existing connections and then import them to Nimble. And these are all the applications that we actually integrate with. So you can scroll down and see if there's something that you want to integrate with, but you can also just type it in here. So my favorite example, MailChimp, as you can see, you could set up the integration in here. And on the free trial with PySync, you would be able to bring all your contacts in, as I mentioned earlier. So when I go onto Today page, this is my dashboard. I can completely customize it to see just the widgets that make sense to me. So working with influencers, I definitely want to see what are all my to-dos, what are all the things that I need to get done that I scheduled for myself. I also want to see what is on my calendar every day. What are all my meetings? What do I need to prepare for? Do I have any demos or webinars to prepare for? We also have a feature in Nimble for email tracking. So if you are a Gmail user, you will be able to use it inside of your Gmail inbox as well as inside of Nimble, as well as using group messages. So if you're an Outlook user, there's one slight disadvantage that you will only be able to use the email check-in when emailing people from inside of Nimble and using group messages. We don't have that ability inside of Outlook just yet. So then I will see how people are interacting with my messages. I can select the single ones or group messages. I also use the Stay in Touch feature in Nimble to make sure that I'm staying in touch with the most important influencers. And you can also set up a custom reminder. So if you want to stay in touch with certain influencers every 20 days, you can set that up. I also see how people are interacting with me on Twitter, what they're saying about me. And then again, I could quickly add them to Nimble. And that just helps me to keep an eye on the engagement with the influencers that I'm focusing on. I won't go into much detail about our deals related widgets. We have a lot of webinars that are specific to the entire application. So you could always find them on our YouTube channel, or if you have any questions, please let us know in the comments. So let's go on to the actual contact record. So once I add my influencers into Nimble, I can go onto their contact record and see their name, their title, the company they work for. I can see all the social profiles that they're active on, their bio. I could create a note here as well. I could log any past activity. Maybe there was a custom activity for me because they are a journalist and I just briefed them. So in the administrator of your account can always create custom activities inside of Nimble. So you could put it in as such. You could schedule any future activities here, message them, and let's just see how you can easily email people and send it as a tracked message. And then you will get a notification that they open your email, or it will also show up on the main Today page. Under interactions, I'll always see all the things that have been done with the person. I'll see my upcoming activities, and this tab might become a little busy after you've developed a really strong relationship with somebody and you've done a lot with them. So you can always focus on specific ones. So under messages, I can see all the messages that we have exchanged, including emails and Twitter messages. Under activities, I can focus on specific activities. I can see all the notes. And if I have any sales opportunities scheduled for him or created, I can see them here. And my favorite place, and I already kind of showed you what the custom fields can look like on the browser extension. This is where I spend most of my time with, because I completely customize this tab. And when you sign up for Nimble, you'll see that you have the option to create up to 5 custom tabs and as many as you want of these individual custom fields. So especially for tracking the success of your influencer marketing or your PR activities, I really recommend to look into custom fields. So one field I created was the account owner. I could put a link to the person's blog, or if they have an RSS feed. And I can also track all the campaigns and the success of them. And I also showed you what is it that I track for press. So once I have this information in, I can go to the main contacts page here. And when I click on Add Segment, I will be able to segment on all the information that I have created. So I could search for tags. I know that I created a tag, wrote about Nimble. So I want to pull up the list of all the people that wrote about us in 2019. I could further refine the search. I could focus on just the people or just the companies. In this case, I would probably just want to focus on the individuals, because then if I want to reach out to them, I would be talking to the individual that actually wrote it, not their company. So I could save this. And this safe search would be available for me on the main site. And every time there's a new contact that's added that matches their search criteria, they would automatically be added into this list. So the list will always be up to date. So that's another way how you can organize your influencers and have a nicely organized place in your CRM database to go and find them, and then make sure that you get you follow through with everything that you have discussed with the influencer, and also that you can use this to make sure that you are following up with them. So when we go on Tim's contact record here, I could star him, I could mark him as important, and then he would also be added into the list of my VIPs. So then I can use the list to make sure that I'm sharing his content, that I go and listen to the latest episode of his podcast and maybe, compliment him on it. And again, these podcasters, the guests they invite, they're also usually influencers. So that's also another way how I am always expanding the list of our influencers. And this is the stay in touch reminder feature that I was talking about. So as you can see, I could set it up on a weekly basis, monthly, or I could use a custom period. And then Nimble would remind me to get in touch with him. I also want to show you a few other things that you can use the segmentation for. So for my press stuff, so I could pull up a list of all the journalists that are writing about CRM, and let's pretend there's more of them, and we are just launching a feature that we want to reach out to press about and possibly get covered. I could quickly select everybody on this list, send them a group message that I can customize. I could use the merge tag, use the first name. I could, if I write the message and I know that's something I would want to reuse in the future, I could save it as a template or pick from an existing template. And the really great way about this is that these messages will come in from my email. So it will either come from my Gmail or my Outlook. So nobody on this list will know they were a part of a group outreach. So to them, it will look like I took the time to send them a one-on-one message. On top of that, Nimble will give me the insights open, the insights on the clicks and opens. So I see when was the last time they opened, if they open, how many times. If I include a link, I'll see if they clicked, and if so, how many times. Another great tool in Nimble that I'm using a lot is the activities listing. So this is where I can create to-do lists, and I can also use it to report on any activities of any of my team members. So I could quickly pull up all the calls that somebody on my team had with influencers. I could change the time frame here. And I could kind of report on how successful we are, how many press mentions we did, how many podcasts we booked, how many journalists covered us in 2019, and then be able to see if the time, money, and effort we invested in influencer marketing has paid off. And then we can also see if we can find out any other analytics on how many actual trials and how many conversions we got from these specific activities. So with that, I also want to tell you about our next training webinars. We're going to start doing them again in January. So on January 8th, I'll be doing a general Nimble CRM overview. I will also go through the mobile application. On January 15th, I'll be focusing on how to use the Nimble segmentation in detail, how to use the group messaging, and how to create custom fields. And then every other week, I'll be doing the general overview and mobile overview. And in between, I'll be focusing on specific features. So then on January 29th, I will be doing how to use deals and multiple deal pipelines in Nimble. So if you're already on our mailing list, you'll definitely be getting invites, but you can always go on nimble.com/company/webinars, and you'll be able to register for those that you're interested in. We also have a special offer for new users. If you sign up today, you can get 30 days of Nimble for free. So you can either go to nimble.com/offers/webinar30, or if you're already in trial and you would like to take advantage of this offer, you can email us at care@nimble.com and say that you attended today's webinar, and we'll be happy to extend it for you. And now I would like to take a look at any questions you might have. So if you have any questions about anything, influencer marketing or Nimble specifically, please let me know. Or if we don't have any questions, you can always let us know if you have them later at care@nimble.com, and we'll be more than happy to answer them for you. So thank you so much for joining me today, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.